Have you ever wondered about the key things that Muslims must never do? Today we'll explore this subject in depth. Islam, like many belief systems, provides guidance for its followers. It's a path that encourages harmony, respect and peace. And there are certain practices and behaviors that are discouraged or considered haram, meaning forbidden. In this video, we will outline 12 key aspects that Muslims are advised to avoid. From dietary restrictions to ethical standards, these aspects are integral to understanding the Muslim faith and its teachings. We'll discuss prohibited consumption, gambling, interest, fortune-telling, taking life, dishonesty, abuse, greed, affairs outside of marriage, disrespect towards parents, and corruption. Each of these points will be briefly explored to provide a comprehensive overview. Join us as we delve into these 12 important aspects of Muslim life. Knowledge is power, and understanding these principles can bridge gaps, foster understanding, and deepen respect for the rich tapestry of human beliefs. Firstly, Muslims must never consume pork, alcohol, or mind-altering drugs. This rule stems from the Islamic dietary laws called halal. These laws are derived from specific verses of the Holy Quran, providing guidelines on what is permissible and what is not when it comes to food and drink. Pork is considered impure or haram because the pig is seen as an unclean animal. Alcohol and mind-altering drugs, on the other hand, are forbidden due to their intoxicating nature. They're believed to impair judgment, disrupt societal harmony, and lead individuals away from the path of righteousness. It's not just about physical health, but spiritual and mental health as well. By adhering to halal, Muslims ensure their actions are in harmony with their faith, nurturing their connection with the divine. Remember, these substances are considered impure and harmful, and thus are strictly forbidden. Next, gambling and taking interest or riba are both forbidden in Islam. Now you may wonder why. Well, both of these practices are seen as exploitative and can cause disruption to social harmony. Let's talk about gambling first. It's a game of chance, right? But what's often overlooked is the risk of addiction and financial ruin. It can lead to family breakdowns and even crime. Moreover, it's based on the concept of gaining something for nothing, creating an imbalance in the distribution of wealth. Moving on to interest or riba. It's seen as a form of oppression where the rich get richer at the expense of the poor. It creates a system of inequality, fostering resentment and social unrest. In essence, Islam promotes a society of cooperation, mutual assistance and fairness. Practices like gambling and taking interest undermine these values. They're seen as taking advantage of others, which is against the principles of fairness and justice in Islam. Fortune-telling and taking a life, including one's own, are strictly forbidden. Let's talk about why. In Islam, the belief in divine will and predestination, or qadr, is a fundamental part of faith. Attempting to predict the future, as fortune-tellers do, undermines this belief, suggesting that humans can know what only Allah has the power to determine. It's a challenge to His supreme authority and knowledge. On the other hand, all life is considered sacred in Islam. Taking a life, whether it's someone else's or your own, is a grave sin. It's a violation of the sanctity of life that Allah has bestowed. Each life is a precious gift, a trust from Allah, to be cherished and preserved. Remember, friends, Islam teaches us to have faith in Allah's wisdom and to respect and value all life. Life is sacred, and the future is known only to Allah. Lying, stealing, cheating, and abusing others are all serious sins in Islam. They shatter the fabric of trust and respect that binds us together as a community. A true Muslim is one who is truthful, not just in their words, but also in their actions. They respect the rights of others and treat everyone with kindness. The Holy Quran places great emphasis on truthfulness, saying, "O you who believe, fear Allah and be with those who are true." Surah At-Tawbah, verse 119. It's not just about avoiding lies, it's about embodying truth in all aspects of life. Similarly, respect for others is a fundamental principle in Islam. It prohibits all forms of abuse, whether physical or emotional. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "A Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hands the Muslims are safe." Honesty and compassion are highly valued virtues, and their opposites are severely condemned. Let's strive to embody these principles in our daily lives. Being greedy or stingy, having affairs outside of marriage, and disrespecting parents are all major sins. Let's delve into this. Islam encourages generosity and sharing. Greed and stinginess stand in stark contrast to these values. They create division and breed resentment. Remember, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Generosity is near to Allah, near to paradise, near to the people, and far from the hellfire." Now, maintaining the sanctity of marriage is a cornerstone of Islamic life. Infidelity not only breaks this bond, but also leads to emotional turmoil and societal discord. The Quran strongly admonishes such acts and urges us to guard our modesty. Lastly, respect for parents holds a unique and elevated position in Islamic ethics. We're reminded time and time again of the importance of treating our parents with kindness and respect. The Quran reinforces this, saying, "Your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him, and that you be kind to parents." These actions violate the principles of charity, loyalty, and respect that are fundamental to Islam. Lastly, engaging in any form of corruption is strictly forbidden. This is a significant point in our journey of understanding the 12 things Muslims must never do. But why is corruption such a grave offense? Well, it's simple. Corruption, in its many forms, is seen as a betrayal of trust, a distortion of fairness, and an impediment to the prosperity of society. It's like a poison that slowly seeps into the fabric of communities, eroding values and principles, and ultimately causing harm to all. Islam places a high value on honesty, transparency, and justice. It promotes good governance and fair dealings. So when one indulges in corrupt practices, they're not just breaking laws of the land, but also going against the teachings of Islam. They're undermining the very principles that hold society together. Corruption undermines the principles of justice and good governance emphasized in Islam. It's a reminder to us all to stand against corruption in all its forms, to uphold integrity and fairness, and to contribute positively to the betterment of society. In summary, these 12 prohibitions form a moral and ethical guide for Muslims. They are not mere restrictions, but a path towards a righteous and fulfilling life, a life that is harmonious with the spirit of Islam. Firstly, Muslims are urged to abstain from consuming pork, alcohol, and mind-altering drugs. These substances can cloud the mind and lead to harmful decisions, and as such, their avoidance is a matter of both physical and spiritual health. Secondly, gambling and taking interest, or riba, are discouraged. These practices can lead to financial instability and exploitation, undermining the Islamic principles of fairness and equity. Thirdly, fortune-telling and the taking of a life, whether of oneself or another, are strictly forbidden. The former is seen as an attempt to usurp God's knowledge, while the latter is a grave violation of the sanctity of life. Fourthly, dishonest practices such as lying, stealing, and cheating are prohibited. These actions can erode trust within a community and lead to discord and conflict. Fifthly, abusing others, whether verbally, emotionally, or physically, is condemned. Such behavior goes against the Islamic values of respect and compassion. Sixthly, being greedy or stingy, having affairs outside of marriage, and disrespecting parents are all actions that can damage relationships and break down social bonds. They are seen as contrary to the spirit of generosity, fidelity, and reverence that Islam promotes. Finally, engaging in corruption is seen as a betrayal of the trust placed in an individual by the community. It is a practice that undermines the principles of justice and integrity that are central to Islamic ethics. By understanding these prohibitions, we gain a deeper appreciation of the values and principles that guide Muslims in their daily lives. These are not just rules to be followed, but signposts on the path towards a life of peace, harmony, and righteousness. They remind us that we are all connected, and that our actions have consequences that reach beyond ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this journey into understanding the things that Muslims must never do. We've explored 12 key principles that guide the actions and decisions of Muslims worldwide, each one rooted in a deep sense of respect for self, others, and the divine. In life, we may all stumble and falter, but it's important to remember that every faith, including Islam, offers a path towards self-improvement and spiritual growth. These principles aren't just prohibitions, they're signposts, guiding us towards a life of honesty, respect, and devotion. Understanding them helps us appreciate the rich tapestry of human spiritual experience. So, let's continue to learn, to grow, and to respect each other's journeys. After all, we're all travelers on the road of life, seeking understanding, peace, and fulfillment. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and join us again in our next video. Peace be upon you.